My mother Natalie died from cancer, and the house went quiet overnight. At the funeral, my father Howard held Derek close and barely looked at me. A week later, he told me the truth. Derek needed support more than I did. He moved my college fund to Derek's account and called it family duty. I was 19, and I learned what that word really meant. I worked nights, took loans, and finished school without their help. Derek stayed home, drifted between jobs, and still got praised for effort. Howard called him a good son and called me too independent to worry about. I stopped arguing, because arguing never changed anything in that house. Years passed, and I built a career in real estate, one listing at a time. I learned contracts, negotiation, and how to read what people avoid saying. Then one afternoon, Howard called, sounding warm for the first time in years. He said Derek was engaged to Brianna Sutton, and they needed a fresh start. He said a man cannot marry without a home, and asked if I could help. Part of me still wanted approval, so I said yes, and I hated that I said it. I toured houses for weeks, and Derek rejected every modest option with a smirk. Brianna wanted open concept, a big kitchen, and a yard for photos. Derek wanted to look successful, even if the numbers did not work. I bought a beautiful place, priced at $770,000. I signed every paper myself, and I put the deed in my name. My lawyer Lauren Klein told me to keep it that way, until trust is earned. I paid the down payment, covered the first repairs, and set clear monthly terms. Derek hugged me once, and said he would never forget this. 2 months later, he stopped answering my calls, and Howard said I should not take it personally. Family dinners happened without me, then holidays, then quiet weekends at the house. Derek posted photos online with captions about his first home, and never mentioned me. When I finally asked about the wedding plan, Howard acted annoyed. He said the ceremony would be at the house, because it was perfect. Then he said the guest list was tight, and I should understand. A week after that call, Derek sent a group text about wedding plans. He wrote the date, the time, and the address of my own house. He asked everyone to arrive early because photos would start on the lawn. I read the message twice, then I stared at my hands. Howard called right after, and his tone sounded rehearsed. He said the guest list was complicated, and feelings were sensitive. He said I should not take anything personally, because weddings are stressful. I asked him a simple question: am I invited or not? Howard paused, then said the invitations already went out. He said if I did not receive one, then I should understand. He said Derek and Brianna need a peaceful day. He said I tend to make things tense, even when I mean well. I felt my throat tighten, but my voice stayed calm. I told him I bought the house, and I still pay for the property taxes. Howard sighed, like I was being difficult, and said money is not love. He said family is love, and I should stop keeping score. Then he said I was not invited, and it was final. After the call, I sat at my desk and opened my email. There were vendor confirmations for the event, caterer notes, rental invoices, and delivery schedules. Every message listed the property address, and every message treated Derek as the owner. I forwarded them to myself and saved copies, because my job trained me to keep records. I texted Derek and asked why I was excluded. He replied that the list was full, and he could not add anyone else. He added that I should not embarrass him, and I should respect boundaries. I stared at that word, boundaries, and I almost laughed. Derek had never respected mine, not once. I went to bed that night with a heaviness in my chest. Not only grief for Natalie, but a fresh grief for my place in that family. I realized they did not want me at the wedding. They wanted my house and my silence. 2 days later, I drove to the house with a spare key in my pocket. I told myself I was only checking on the property because winter storms can cause damage. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw wedding decorations stacked in the garage. White folding chairs, floral arches, and boxes of glass jars for candles. I walked inside, and the air smelled like paint and sugar. Brianna was in the kitchen with 2 friends, tasting frosting from a spoon. They froze when they saw me, then forced smiles that did not reach their eyes. Brianna asked what I was doing there, like I had crossed a line. I told her I owned the house, and I needed to check something. Brianna glanced at her friends, then said Howard told her I could not attend. She said she assumed I understood, and she sounded relieved to say it out loud. One friend asked if I was the cleaner, and Brianna laughed too quickly. I kept my face steady because anger would feed them. I asked Brianna if she knew I was not invited, or if she was told a different story. Brianna said Derek planned the list, and she did not question it. She said weddings are expensive, and they cannot make everyone happy. I looked around and saw my dishwasher running, my counters covered with supplies. I asked if Derek told her whose name is on the deed. Brianna blinked once, then said Derek said the house is ours now. Her voice sounded uncertain, like a lie she never examined. I told her the house is in my name, and that was always the plan. Brianna's face tightened, then she said Derek promised it would be transferred soon. I walked out without yelling because I did not need to. I sat in my car for a full minute, hands on the wheel, breathing slowly. In that moment, I understood two things. Derek lied to Brianna, and Howard helped him. Also, they were already treating me like I was trespassing in my own property. That night, Howard came to my apartment, unannounced, carrying an envelope. He said it was a simple form, just paperwork, nothing serious. He said Derek needs the deed transferred before the wedding, for peace of mind. He said it would be a beautiful gift, and Natalie would want it. I felt my stomach twist when he used her name. I asked why the transfer is urgent, if Derek is not even speaking to me. Howard said Derek is stressed, and I should be the bigger person. He said, families do not make legal problems for each other. I took the envelope and told him I would review it. Howard smiled like he won, then left quickly. I opened the envelope and saw a quitclaim deed, prepared and ready. It did not mention payment, and it did not mention protection for me. It was a clean handover, and it would erase my leverage in one signature. My phone buzzed with a message from Derek, and it sounded like a command. He told me to sign and bring it to the house by Friday. He added that if I love him, I will not make this hard. I did not answer, because I could feel my anger rising hot. Instead, I did what my career taught me to do. I verified facts. I drove back to the house early the next morning, when I knew Derek would be at work. I checked the kitchen counter and saw printed pages, neatly stacked. The headline on one page mentioned adverse possession, and another mentioned how long someone must live somewhere to claim it. My hands went cold, and my thoughts became sharp. Derek was not only excluding me, he was studying how to take my property. I left the papers exactly where they were, then I got back in my car. I called Lauren Klein, and I asked for the first appointment she had. Lauren Klein met me the next morning, and she did not waste time. She read the quitclaim deed, then looked up at me, steady. She said, "Do not sign this. Not ever, not for guilt." She asked why Howard brought it, and I told her the wedding. I told her I was not invited, but my house was hosting it. Lauren nodded once, like the pattern was familiar. She pulled the county record and confirmed the deed is in my name. She confirmed the mortgage is in my name, and the taxes too. Then she asked about the papers I saw on the counter, and I said adverse possession. Lauren leaned back, and her eyes sharpened. She explained it in plain language, slow and firm. Adverse possession is not a shortcut for liars. It is a high bar. It requires years of hostile possession and a record of acting as owner. Derek has none of that, and he knows it, which is why he tried pressure. Lauren told me Derek is not planning gratitude. Derek is planning theft. She said the wedding is a distraction, and the deed is the trap. Then she asked me what I want, not what they want. I said I want my life back, and I want my property protected. Lauren said good, then we act like owners, not like victims. She drafted a letter to Howard and Derek, clear and cold. It stated the house is mine, and no transfer will occur. It stated all attempts to coerce a signature must stop. It stated Derek is a tenant by permission only, and permission can end. Lauren told me to document everything: messages, voicemails, and visits. She told me to stop entering alone and to add cameras legally. She told me not to argue with Brianna because people like her twist words. Then she gave me the option that felt like air. She said I can sell the house and remove the stage from their play. I felt my stomach drop, then settle, because it made sense. They did not want me as family. They wanted me as a bank. I left Lauren's office with a folder in my hand and clarity in my chest. Natalie was gone, but her voice lived in my memory. She used to tell me that love does not require humiliation. I finally believed her. I listed the house that same week with a top agent I trust. I set the price to market, not mercy, and I set a fast timeline. The agent asked if the current occupants would cooperate, and I told him no. I told him we will use legal notice for showings, and we will be professional. Lauren filed the formal notices, and she made every line airtight. The first showing request went out, and my phone exploded. Derek called, then texted, then called again, like volume could change law. He said I was sabotaging his wedding and ruining his life. He said I was bitter, and he said Natalie would be ashamed of me. I felt heat rise. Then I went cold, because he used her name. I replied with one sentence, and nothing more. You are not the owner, and you are not entitled to my silence. Howard called next, using the softer voice that always hides a blade. He said families do not do this, and neighbors will talk. He said Brianna is upset, and the bride family will blame us. I told him the bride family should blame the man who lied to them. Howard snapped that I was selfish, and he said I owed Derek stability. I said you took my stability at 19, and called it duty. Then, I ended the call, and I did not pick up again. On the day of the first showing, Derek tried to block the driveway with his car. The agent documented it, and I documented it, and Lauren sent a warning. Derek moved the car, but he left the house a mess on purpose. He thought chaos would scare buyers, but buyers saw through it. They saw the bones of a good home, and they saw opportunity. Within 48 hours, we had multiple offers. One was a cash offer, with a fast closing and clean terms. I accepted it, and I signed with calm hands. When I walked out of the office, I did not feel guilty. I felt relieved. Because the house was no longer a weapon against me. It was simply an asset, and I was the owner. The closing date landed just before the wedding weekend, and I kept it quiet. Derek kept posting online, smiling in front of my fireplace. Brianna kept sharing photos of floral samples on my kitchen island. They acted like the deed was a formality, and like I would fold at the last minute. Howard sent one message that sounded like an order. He said, "Stop this, sign the deed, and come to your senses." I did not answer, because my answer was already signed in ink. Lauren prepared the next step, the notice to vacate after closing. She explained the timing, the delivery, and the consequences for refusal. She told me to let law handle what emotion cannot. The day before the rehearsal, I drove past the house and watched from the street. I saw rented chairs stacked by the garage, and string lights hung too early. I saw Derek laughing with friends on the porch, careless and confident. I realized he truly believed I was weak, because he needed me to be weak. That night, I slept better than I had in months. In the morning, the buyer signed, the funds cleared, and the house was no longer in my name. I sat in my car with the final documents, and my hands were steady. Lauren asked if I wanted to notify them immediately, and I said not yet. I said they planned a wedding without me, in a house they did not own. I will let reality meet them on their chosen stage. I drafted one email, simple and factual, addressed to Derek, Howard, and Brianna. I attached the closing confirmation and the move-out notice timeline. My finger hovered over send, and my stomach felt calm. They told me I was not invited, and they expected my generosity anyway. Now they would learn what it means when the person you used finally stops cooperating. I waited until the rehearsal dinner started. Then I opened my laptop. The buyer had signed, The funds had cleared, and the deed was done. The house was no longer mine, and it was never Derek property. Lauren Klein had already prepared the notices, formal and properly delivered. I wrote one email, short, factual, and impossible to twist. I addressed it to Howard, Derek, and Brianna Sutton, all at once. I attached the closing confirmation and the move-out timeline in plain words. I wrote that the new owner will take possession, and they must cooperate. I wrote that any interference with showings or access will be documented. I read it twice. Then I hit send, and I closed the laptop. My phone rang within 60 seconds, Derek's name flashing like a warning. I let it ring, then Howard called right after. Then Brianna? I watched the screen buzz, then I turned my phone face down. 10 minutes later I checked voicemail, because I wanted records, not conversation. Derek's voice was raw and furious, calling me names, calling me jealous. He claimed I was ruining his life, and he demanded I fix it tonight. Howard's voicemail sounded softer, but the message was the same. He said this will humiliate the family, and I should stop immediately. Brianna's message was the most revealing, because she sounded confused, then scared. She asked why I would sell their home, and what she was supposed to tell her parents. That was the moment I knew Derek lied to her completely. I texted one line to Brianna, careful and calm. The deed was never in Derek's name. I told her to speak with Lauren Klein if she needs facts. Then I sent nothing else, because the next step was already moving. Lauren confirmed the notices were delivered, and the buyer planned to visit soon. I sat in my quiet apartment, and I felt something settle inside me. They told me I was not invited, but they assumed my property was theirs. Now they were invited to reality, and reality does not negotiate. The next afternoon, the wedding guests arrived early, dressed up and smiling. I did not go near the house, because I did not need a front row. I watched the chaos through messages that came in waves. First Brianna called again, voice shaking, asking if this was real. She said Derek told her the house was a gift, already transferred. She said her parents were proud, because the venue looked expensive. I told her, I will not argue with her. I will only tell the truth. The house was purchased by me, and the deed stayed in my name. I told her Lauren Klein can confirm every detail, and I ended the call. 30 minutes later, Derek texted, demanding I stop the sale, as if sales reverse by anger. He wrote that 200 guests were already there, and he would never forgive me. I replied with one sentence, "You already chose your guest list. Now live with it." After that, the new owner arrived with their agent, and a copy of the closing documents. They were polite, but firm, and they had every right. They informed the coordinator that the property changed hands, and events cannot continue there. Someone posted the notice on the front door, and phones started recording. Guests clustered on the lawn, confused, whispering, then loudly asking questions. Brianna's parents arrived, and they heard the words sold, then demanded answers. Derek tried to speak over everyone, trying to control the story. It did not work, because facts do not bend to performance. People asked why the bride did not know, why the groom did not own the house. Someone mentioned the deed, and Derek's face went pale. The caterer started packing, because payment was at risk. The rented chairs sat empty, because nobody wanted to sit in a lie. Brianna cried, not for the venue, but for the humiliation. She kept saying he told me it was his. He promised. Howard called me screaming, then begging, then screaming again. I did not answer, because he taught me what I am worth to him. By sunset, the wedding was over. Not with vows, but with questions. They built a day on my silence, and the silence finally ended. 2 days after the failed wedding, Howard appeared at my door. He looked smaller, older, and angry in a tired way. He said we need to talk, like I still take orders. I stood in the doorway and kept my voice steady. I asked him one question. Why was I not invited to an event in my house? Howard tried to dodge, then blamed Derek's stress, then blamed family politics. He said I should have been the bigger person, like I always was. I told him I was the bigger person for years, and it bought me nothing. Derek sent messages that swung between rage and panic. He demanded I buy the house back. Then he demanded I transfer money. He promised he would invite me next time, as if invitations fix theft. Brianna texted once, quiet and shaken, saying she did not know the truth. She said Derek told her I was unstable and jealous, and she believed it. I told her I am sorry she was lied to, and I will not join the blame game. Then I stepped back from all of it, because their storm was not my job. The sale proceeds paid off my student debt, and I funded my emergency savings. I created a scholarship in Natalie's name for students who do not get family support. I did it quietly, because my mother deserved dignity, not a spectacle. Lauren Klein helped me close every open thread and document every contact attempt. I blocked Derek when he kept escalating, and I set one legal channel through Lauren. The hardest part was not losing them. It was accepting I never had them. Howard chose Derek again and again, and he would do it again tomorrow. So I chose myself, and I chose peace, and that choice felt like oxygen. They wanted my house, my money, and my silence. They got none of it, and for the first time, I felt free. The week after the wedding collapsed, Derek tried every weapon he had left. He sent messages that swung between rage and tears. He said I ruined his future, and he said I owed him a fix. When I did not respond, he went to my job and asked the front desk for me. The receptionist called security, and Derek left fast, but the intent was clear. That night, Howard emailed me, and he wrote like a father giving orders. He said I must reverse the sale and make this right for the family. He said people are talking, and our name is damaged. I read that line twice and felt nothing but distance. I forwarded every message to Lauren Klein, and I asked her what the next step is. Lauren told me to stop hoping they will behave and start documenting like they will not. She filed a harassment notice, and she sent a formal letter to Derek and Howard. It stated they must not contact my workplace and must not contact me directly. It stated all communication goes through counsel and violations will escalate. Derek responded by leaving a voicemail full of threats, and he mentioned the house again, like he still owned it. Lauren was calm, and she said he is digging a hole. 2 days later, Derek filed a complaint claiming I promised him the house. He claimed there was a verbal agreement, and he tried to paint himself as the victim. Lauren requested discovery and asked for proof. Derek had none, because promises do not replace deeds. Then he tried the old trick, and he said I used Natalie's death to manipulate everyone. That was the moment my patience ended. I told Lauren to proceed with a restraining order request, and I signed the affidavit. I included screenshots, dates, and the quitclaim deed he tried to force. I included the adverse possession pages I found in the kitchen. The judge granted a temporary order and scheduled a hearing. Derek showed up looking stunned, like consequences were unfair. Howard sat behind him, eyes hard, still loyal. I testified with a steady voice, because truth does not need volume. When the order became permanent, Derek stared at me like I was a stranger. I realized I finally was. After the hearing, Brianna reached out once from a new number. Her message was short, and it did not sound angry. She said she needed to know what was real. She said Derek told her the house was already his, and I was just jealous. She said Derek told her I was unstable, and that I hated seeing him happy. I told Brianna I will not fight her. I will only give facts. I sent her the county deed record and the closing confirmation. I sent the quitclaim deed Howard delivered, and the texts demanding my signature. Brianna replied with one word, "Wow," and then she went quiet. 2 days later, she called, voice shaking, and said Derek lied about more than the house. She said he also lied about his finances, and his job, and the reason I was not invited. She said Derek told her I refused to attend because I wanted attention. I felt my stomach turn, because it was such an easy lie. I told her I was excluded, because Derek needed me invisible. Brianna cried and said her parents are furious. She said her father asked why Derek would host a wedding in a home he did not own. She said her mother asked what else he hid. The next week, Brianna posted a statement online. She did not attack me. She only said the wedding was canceled due to major misrepresentations. Derek tried to counter with his own post, calling me cruel and greedy. He wrote that I stole his home and destroyed his life. Howard shared it, like a stamp of approval. I did not respond with insults. I responded with receipts. I posted one calm paragraph and attached a single screenshot of the deed record. I wrote that ownership is not a feeling, and it is not a story. It is a document. Within hours, Derek's post turned into a comment pile of questions. He deleted it, then reposted it, then deleted it again. People do not like being used as an audience for a lie. Howard called Lauren Klein office, demanding she force me to remove my post. Lauren replied with one sentence, "Truth is not defamation." When the noise finally slowed, I felt the emptiness underneath it. It was not grief for losing them. It was grief for what I never had. I wanted a father who protected me, and a brother who respected me. Howard chose Derek when Natalie was alive, and he chose Derek after she died. That pattern did not change because I learned to say no. So I stopped negotiating with people who only show up to collect. I used the sale proceeds to wipe out my student debt first, because freedom starts with clean numbers. I built an emergency fund that covers a full year of life, because stability matters. Then, I created a scholarship in Natalie's name for students who lose support and still keep going. I did not do it for revenge. I did it for meaning. Lauren Klein helped me structure it correctly and keep my address private. Derek still tried to poke at the edges, sending messages through cousins and old friends. I did not answer, and I did not explain, because explanation is a door. Howard sent one email saying he hopes I am happy now. I did not reply, because that line was not love. It was blame wearing a mask. Months later, I ran into Brianna at a coffee shop. She looked tired and lighter, like a person who escaped. She said she ended the engagement and moved back near her sister. She said she wishes she listened sooner, and she is sorry she benefited from the lie. I told her I hope she finds peace, and I meant it. That night I sat in my apartment, and I felt something new. It was quiet without fear. Natalie used to tell me that love does not demand humiliation. I finally built a life that proves it. Once the wedding imploded, the truth moved faster than any apology. It traveled through friends, co-workers, and every social circle Derek wanted. People kept repeating the same detail. The house was not his. They whispered about the missing sister and the sale on wedding day. Brianna's parents asked questions Derek could not answer without admitting he lied. Brianna did not marry him that weekend, and her smile disappeared completely. She moved out for a while and demanded therapy before any future plan. Derek told everyone I was cruel and that I stole his life. He forgot one thing: county records do not care about tantrums. Howard tried to hold his head high in public, but it cracked anyway. His golf friends started asking why he froze out his own daughter. One of them asked it to his face, at lunch, in a quiet room. Howard left before the check arrived, because shame is heavy when witnesses speak. Derek lost more than a wedding venue. He lost the story he performed. People stopped calling him a great catch and started calling him a risk. He and Brianna moved into a small apartment across town. No yard, no porch. No string lights, no picture-perfect stage for a curated life. The house on Maple Drive belonged to a new family now, a young couple. They painted the front door a bold color and planted flowers by spring. I drove past once, only once, and felt relief instead of grief. A week later, Natalie's oldest friend reached out, Carmen Hale. Carmen knew my mother before marriage, before compromises, before sickness. She asked Howard to meet her at a coffee shop, public and neutral. Howard showed up, and Carmen said she looked 10 years older. Carmen did not soften her words. She never does when it matters. She told him Natalie asked her to watch over me, because Natalie feared him. She told him Natalie knew he would choose Derek and erase me. Howard tried to protest, then his jaw worked like he could not swallow. Carmen said your wife left instructions, and you proved she was right. Howard stood up, left cash on the table, and walked out. He did not turn around, not even once, because he had no defense. People kept asking about the money, like money was the point. $770,000 is loud, and it attracts opinions. For me, it never felt like winning. It felt like a refund. I paid off my remaining student loans first, every last dollar. Those loans existed because my college fund was drained long ago. Closing that circle felt clean, like stitching a wound properly. Then I sat with Carmen Hale and Lauren Klein, and we built something. We expanded the scholarship into the Natalie Monroe Foundation, quiet and practical. It helps young women who lost their mothers early and have no support. Not only tuition, also licensing fees, certifications, and first month rent deposits. The things people ignore when they say just work harder, you will be fine. I funded it with a third of the sale proceeds and kept it low profile. No gala, no press release, no flashy announcements, just structure and mission. With what remained, I bought a small house for myself, 2 bedrooms, a porch, a kitchen window that faces east, and calm morning light. The deed is in my name, only my name, and that matters. The day I moved in, I unpacked one box before everything else. Inside was a framed photo of Natalie, smiling, holding me as a child. I placed it by the front door, so she greets me first. I stood in the empty living room and spoke out loud to nobody. This time, I bought a home for me, not for approval. The silence in that house felt different, not lonely, protected. No one inside it could cancel me or treat me like a guest. I stopped checking my phone for an apology that would never arrive. I started building days that did not revolve around their moods. A few months passed, and the chaos faded into background noise. Brianna kept her distance, then sent a careful message through Carmen. She said she was asking Derek for full transparency, therapy, and no more lies. Whether Derek changed or not was not my job anymore. Derek mailed me a handwritten letter, 2 pages, messy and rushed. He did not apologize clearly. He circled the word like it hurt. He wrote that he messed up, and he did not know how to fix it. He wrote that Brianna keeps asking about me, and he has no answer. I read it twice, folded it, and placed it in my nightstand drawer. I did not write back, not because I hated him, because I was not ready. For the first time in my life, not ready was a complete sentence. Howard did not reach out with a letter, or a call, or a real apology. He chose the same silence he gave me for years. Only now, it was all he had. I stopped waiting for him, because waiting is how I stayed trapped. Thursday nights became my anchor. Dinner with Carmen, sometimes Lauren. Sometimes a coworker joined, sometimes a neighbor with an easy laugh. We ate, talked, and laughed about ordinary things, and it healed me. No one at that table made me prove I deserved a chair. I used to think family meant sacrifice and endless giving. I thought if I gave enough, they would finally see me. I was wrong, not about my capacity, but about the audience. A boundary is not cruelty, it is a door, and I choose who walks through. If you keep giving and keep getting erased, you can stop. You do not need permission to protect yourself and start over. Derek hired an attorney within a week, and he acted like that meant power. He told Brianna Sutton he would force the sale to reverse. He told Howard Monroe the court would punish me for humiliation. Lauren Klein reviewed everything again, calm and surgical. She said the deed record is clear, and the closing is recorded, and the buyer owns it now. Derek attorney asked for proof of any agreement, any lease, any payment record. Derek had nothing, because he never thought he needed it. He treated my generosity like a birthright, and birthrights do not exist in county files. The attorney stopped calling after one short review because there was no case. The only remaining issue was possession, and that had a deadline. 30 days to move out, standard and lawful, and it did not care about wedding photos. Brianna called me once, voice small and shaken. She said Derek told her that the house was already his, and that I refused to attend the wedding on principle. I told her I was not invited, and the deed was never in Derek's name. I gave her Lauren Klein contact, because facts matter more than comfort. Brianna asked if I would talk to her later, not to fix Derek, but to clarify the timeline. I told her maybe, and I meant it, but not yet. During those 30 days, Derek packed in anger, and Howard packed in silence. Brianna packed like someone waking up inside a lie, moving slow, checking every label. When the last day arrived, the locks were changed by the new owner, and the story ended cleanly. Derek and Brianna moved into a small apartment across town. No yard, no porch, no stage. The house went to a young family, and they painted the front door a bold color. I drove past once and felt relief instead of grief. A few days after the move out, Carmen Hale called me and asked to meet. Carmen was my mother Natalie's closest friend, before sickness changed everything. We sat in a coffee shop downtown, public and quiet. Carmen looked tired, but her eyes stayed steady. She told me she met Howard that week because she could not stay silent anymore. Howard arrived looking older, like time hit him all at once. Carmen did not soften her words, because softness never worked on him. She told him Natalie asked her to watch over me, because Natalie feared what would happen. Howard tried to protest, then froze when Carmen named the pattern. She said Natalie knew he already picked Derek, and already decided I was second. Carmen said Natalie asked for a promise, not tradition, a plan. She asked Carmen to be ready, because she knew I would be erased. Howard tightened his jaw, like he was chewing words he could not swallow. Carmen said your wife was right, and now everyone sees it. Howard stood up, left cash on the table, and walked out without turning around. Carmen looked at me and said your mother protected you, even after she was gone. I held my coffee cup with both hands and felt a strange kind of calm. It was painful, but it was clean. For years I thought I was too much or not enough. Carmen gave me the answer Natalie already knew. The problem was never my worth. It was who I was trying to earn from. 3 months passed, and the chaos finally softened into background noise. Derek and Brianna stayed together for now, and Brianna set terms. Therapy every week, full financial transparency, and an honest conversation about family. Whether Derek follows through is not my job anymore. Derek sent me a handwritten letter, 2 pages, messy and rushed. He wrote that he knows he messed up, and he does not know how to fix it. He wrote that Brianna keeps asking about me, and he has no answer, because he does not know me anymore. I read it twice, folded it, and placed it in my nightstand drawer. I did not write back, not because I hated him, because I was not ready. For the first time in my life, not ready was a complete sentence. Howard did not reach out at all. No letter, no call, no message through anyone. Just silence, the same silence he used to erase me. I stopped waiting, because waiting kept me trapped. Thursday nights became my anchor. Dinner with Carmen, sometimes Lauren, sometimes a friend who stayed loyal. We ate, we laughed, and we talked about ordinary things, and it healed me. No one at that table made me prove I deserved a chair. I used to think family meant sacrifice, and endless giving, and staying quiet. Now I know better. A boundary is a door, and I decide who walks through it. The first real change came when I stopped explaining myself to anyone. I paid my student loans in full, and I felt my shoulders drop. I built an emergency fund, big enough to cover a full year. I did it quietly, because peace does not need an audience. Carmen Hale helped me sort my mother things, 1 box at a time. We found Natalie's old planner, with notes in the margins. She wrote reminders like call Casey, and bring soup, and do not forget. I sat on my living room floor, and cried without shame. Lauren Klein helped me lock down my privacy and protect my address. She set up a simple legal channel so harassment could not slip through. Derek tried once more, through a cousin, with a message about family unity. I did not answer, because unity without respect is a trap. Howard sent an email that sounded almost kind, then turned sharp. He wrote that I made Derek look bad, and I should fix it. I read it, felt nothing, and deleted it without replying. The silence after that felt like clean air, not emptiness, just space. I expanded the scholarship into a small fund, named for Natalie Monroe. It helps students who lose support and still keep moving forward. It pays licensing fees, exam costs, and first-month rent deposits. It covers the boring expenses that break people quietly. I did not host a gala. I did not post a banner online. I just funded it and let the work speak. One evening, a recipient emailed me a thank you note. She wrote that she almost quit, then she did not. I closed my laptop and held my breath for a long moment. This is what love should have looked like in my house. Steady, practical, present. Instead, I built it myself, and I stopped waiting for permission. By the time spring arrived, the story stopped feeling like a crisis. It started feeling like a lesson, written in legal ink and silence. Derek and Brianna Sutton stayed in their small apartment, and their life looked smaller. Brianna kept distance from me, but she stayed polite through Carmen. She said therapy is hard, and truth is harder, and she is tired. I believed her, because her voice finally sounded real. Derek did not contact me again after the restraining order held. He learned that boundaries are not feelings, they are consequences. Howard kept his distance too, because he hates rooms he cannot control. Sometimes I still wanted a father, in a soft human way. Then I remembered the empty chair, and the stolen college fund, and the guest list. Wanting does not mean returning, and that difference kept me safe. Thursday dinners became my new tradition, simple and warm. Carmen came, sometimes Lauren, sometimes a friend from work. We ate, talked, and laughed about ordinary things, and it healed me. No one at that table asked what I owe, or who deserves more. They asked how my week was, and they listened to the answer. I used to think family was blood, and endless sacrifice, and silence. Now I know family is respect, consistency, and a seat that never gets pulled away. If someone erases you, while cashing your kindness, you can stop. You can walk away without a speech and build something better. I did not ruin a wedding. I ended a lie, and I saved myself. A month after the restraining order hearing, Carmen Hale invited me over for tea. She said she found something Natalie wanted me to have. She handed me a plain envelope, sealed and dated years ago. My hands shook, because my mother handwriting still felt alive. I opened it slowly and read every line twice. Natalie wrote that she saw the favoritism clearly, long before illness arrived. She wrote that Howard would always protect Derek first, then call it family. She wrote that she tried to argue, and it only made Howard colder. Natalie wrote that she saved small amounts quietly and planned for my future. She wrote that if Howard ever asked me for money, I should say no. She wrote that love does not demand humiliation, and help does not require surrender. Then Natalie wrote one line that stopped my breath. She wrote that Derek will take what he can, then blame you for leaving crumbs. I sat there staring at the page, feeling grief turn into clarity. I did not need to hate them, to accept the pattern. Carmen watched me quietly, and let silence do its work. She told me, Natalie cried in the hospital once, not from pain, from fear. She feared I would keep paying for affection that never comes. I folded the letter carefully and placed it back in the envelope. I thanked Carmen, and I told her I will honor Natalie the right way. That night I opened my laptop and wrote the first scholarship guidelines. I focused on practical help, exam fees, deposits, licensing costs, rent bridges. I wrote it like a contract with the future, calm and specific. Then I printed Natalie's letter and stored it in my safe. Not as evidence against them, but as a reminder to myself. When Howard emailed again asking to talk, I did not respond. I did not owe him closure when he never gave me care. I went to bed and slept, and for once, I did not feel guilty. 2 weeks later, Lauren Klein called me with a careful tone. She said Derek was trying to file a new claim through a different attorney. He was alleging an implied promise and hardship and family expectation. Lauren sounded almost bored, because law does not reward entitlement. She said the court will ask for evidence, and Derek has none. Derek's attorney requested mediation and offered a settlement, then added threats. Lauren replied with documents and invited them to proceed in court. The attorney stopped pushing after one review because the case was weak. Derek then tried to pressure Brianna Sutton to make her speak for him. Brianna contacted Carmen and asked for my number because she wanted the truth. I agreed to one call with Lauren on speaker and a clear boundary. Brianna sounded exhausted and her voice kept cracking. She said Derek told her I was invited and refused to come. She said he told her the deed was transferred and paperwork was delayed. Lauren explained the deed record, the closing record, and the quitclaim deed. Brianna went silent, then whispered that he lied to her parents too. She said her father feels humiliated and her mother feels betrayed. I told Brianna I am sorry she was used, and I meant it. I told her I will not participate in revenge, only truth. Brianna said she is ending the engagement, and she sounded relieved. A week later, she mailed back the ring and moved in with her sister. Derek posted online that he was a victim, then deleted it fast. People asked questions he could not answer without exposing himself. Howard tried to call me twice, then sent a message blaming me again. He said I destroyed Derek's future, and he said I should fix it. I forwarded it to Lauren, and she handled it through counsel. I did not reply, because I am not the repair crew for their choices. By early summer, the noise faded into a distant hum. My days became mine again, and that felt unfamiliar at first. I focused on work, on health, on quiet mornings with coffee. I toured small houses for myself, and I chose one with morning light. 2 bedrooms, a porch, and a kitchen that feels calm. The deed is in my name, and it will stay that way. I moved in slowly, one box at a time. No rush. On the first night, I placed a photo of Natalie by the front door. I told her out loud, I stopped paying for love. The scholarship fund opened that month, and the first application arrived. A student wrote that her parent took her savings and called it duty. I read that line and felt my chest tighten, then soften. I approved her grant, paid the fees, and sent a short note. Keep going, you are not alone. Carmen came for dinner on Thursday, and Lauren joined us once. We ate pasta, laughed at nothing, and it healed me. No one at that table asked what I owe, or who deserves more. They asked how I feel, and they listened to the answer. I did not get invited to a wedding in my own house, and that pain was real. But I gained something larger than an invitation. I gained a life. Derek and Howard can keep their story. I will not carry it. I will carry the truth, and I will carry myself. The last thing Howard and Derek wanted was peace for me. They wanted control and a clean story, and my silence. They wanted me to say it was a misunderstanding and that I overreacted. They wanted me to pretend the guest list was an accident and the quitclaim deed was harmless. They wanted me to forget the pages about adverse possession sitting on my own counter. I did not forget, and I did not rewrite anything. I stopped answering emails that demanded, and I stopped taking calls that blamed. Lauren Klein kept the legal channel open, and everything else stayed closed. Carmen Hale reminded me that love does not come with conditions, and Natalie knew that too. I kept Natalie's letter in my safe, not as a weapon, but as a compass. I bought a small home for myself, with morning light and quiet rooms. I hung one photo of Natalie by the front door, So I walk past her smile every day. The scholarship fund opened, and the first recipients arrived quietly. They were students who kept going, even after support was stolen. I paid fees, deposits, and licensing costs, the practical things that save futures. Some nights I still felt the old ache, the wish for a father who chose me. Then I remembered the truth. I should not beg for a seat at a table I paid for. Derek can keep chasing attention, and Howard can keep protecting him. Their choices are not my responsibility anymore. Brianna Sutton moved on, and I hope she finds someone who tells the truth. I do not need revenge, because the consequence already happened. They lost the house, they lost the story, and they lost access to me. I gained something better than an invitation. I gained my life back. If someone uses you, then erases you, you can stop. You can step away without yelling and let reality do the talking. I did not destroy a wedding. I ended a lie, and I protected myself.